Rome wasn't built in a day, but the legions of Rome were certainly built from veterans. The men who fought and won Rome's battles were rewarded with land, money, and even power. But how? After the battle life of Roman veterans. During Rome's Republic and Empire, veterans could receive land grants after their service, but these were usually only available to those who had served at least 5 years. But with the conquest of new territories, there was a growing need for people to stay behind and actually administer and run these areas. This led to a change in policy, granting land to veterans after just 1 year of service. These veterans would then become the colonizers of the newly conquered province, acting as the seed population that would grow into a full-fledged province. This is exactly what happened in Gaul and Britain. The first Roman soldiers to settle in Britain, for example, were veterans of the conquest under Caesar and Aulus Plautius. They were granted land, tax breaks, and even exemptions from certain laws. Britain would later be fully incorporated into the Roman Empire, but it wouldn't have been possible without those initial veteran settlers. It wasn't all sunshine and roses for these veterans, though. Living on the frontier was dangerous. The local Gauls and Britons weren't too happy about being conquered, and there was constant threat of attack. On top of this, Rome expected these veterans to not only defend themselves, but also to grow crops, raise livestock, and generally make the province self-sufficient. Many of them had never farmed in their lives and were totally unprepared for this task. It's no surprise then that many of these veteran colonies failed. But despite the difficulties, many veterans saw their land grants as an opportunity to make a better life for themselves and their families. For many, it was a chance to own property and become part of the Roman elite. And for others, it was simply a chance to escape the poverty that had plagued them for most of their lives. But not all veterans were so lucky. While some received generous land grants, others received nothing at all. In fact, many veterans were forced to beg for money or food after leaving the army. What were they supposed to do? The answer lies in the word premium militiae, which translates to rewards for military service. This isn't to be confused with the German word Fremdmilitaria, which means front money. No, this was real money given to veterans for their service. Of course, the amount given varied depending on the soldier's rank and length of service, but it was still a nice little earner for many soldiers. Now, this was supposed to help veterans transition to civilian life, but often this money was simply used to help them survive, not to mention that inflation during the late Republic and early Empire meant that the value of this money decreased over time. Despite the issues with land grants and pensions, there was still hope for veterans looking for a way to improve their lives. Many veterans actually went into politics, and surprisingly, this was a pretty common career path for many of them. This was because the skills needed to be a successful soldier were often the same skills needed to be a successful politician, namely the ability to lead, inspire, and negotiate. One of the most famous examples of a veteran-turned-politician is Emperor Vespasian. He started off as a military tribune and then worked his way up the ranks to become a full-fledged general. He was the man who put down the Jewish revolt and took Jerusalem in 70 CE. He was awarded the title Augustus by the Senate in 69. And the Julio-Claudian dynasty began with him, but not all veterans were so lucky. Many died young, either in battle or on campaigns, or they simply didn't have the connections or charisma to make it in politics. Nevertheless, the stories of those who did succeed offer a glimmer of hope for those who didn't. For many Roman veterans, their military service was simply a job, a way to put food on the table and a roof over their heads. They may not have been able to carve out a piece of land for themselves in Gaul or Britain, receive a generous pension, or become powerful politicians. But their service was still valued, and their sacrifice was not forgotten. What do you think? Did you know that veterans could receive land grants? How about pensions? What about those who went into politics? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.